Good morning, guys. We're at the gym. It is 5:47 in the morning. Actually, this is a little bit of a late start because I got to get my daughter ready for school and everything. So we may have to cut this session in half and pick up the rest of it later. We also have some other things to do later anyway. So let's get it done.
Alright, so I was supposed to have chains, but they don't have chains here, which is fine. I figured I would use bands, but they don't. Let's see if I can turn it down. They don't have band pegs. I figured, okay, not a problem. I can do bands around my back because I've done that before for things like push-ups. It's a nice little additive to something like push-ups if you want, but as you saw, it was super awkward. So I decided to do reverse bands, so attaching it all the way up there. It's roughly the same amount of change that I want, so it's a little bit of inverted math. It still works out to be roughly the same. There are some slight differences when it comes to doing reverse bands that you would want to program that specifically. So we're making it happen, but I just gotta do some different math for when I use this number to program off of. I think it's next week. So I just gotta change a little bit, but that's okay. Alright, so let's talk about the math real quick. So, we were supposed to do a 3-rep max, and the goal, the target, was to hit something over 75% plus 20 to 30% in bands. And that would have been an additional 20 to 30% at the top. So, whichever way you orient the band, whether it's underneath the bar or over the bar, it's still lighter at the bottom and harder at the top. But for this particular calculation, we want to know how much weight did it take up at the top. Oh, all right, guys. So now that we have that out of the way, at the top, it was about 30 pounds of assistance. So not really where I wanted to be. I definitely would have gone for a few more chains placed. If I had a spotter, I just wish it was a little bit more. There we go. Alright, what's next here? We got front rows, band pull apart, and pushed. This crock is gonna be fun.
back up top, guys. What's up? So that was a great pump session, both mentally and physically, on so many levels, because I was actually struggling when I went to the gym. The main reason was because I was rushed. I had to get all this work done in a short amount of time, and I had to make sure that my daughter's lunch was packed and everything was all together and all that. But it was just hard for me to feel present in the snatch. It was hard for me to really dial in, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm just gonna focus on this. All right, I'm gonna focus on the extension and I'm gonna focus on pulling the bar apart, whatever the cue is. So at first I felt like I was just slinging weight around. And then towards the end, I felt like I could dial it a little bit. It's kind of like the knob was a little rusty, but I finally got to a point where I could start dialing it a little bit. And so rather than focus on whether or not I hit a certain number, I was focused on practicing the skill, strengthening the skill of turning that dial of my focus in the snatch. Because if you want to perform or compete, then you really need to be able to have a handle on that dial, regardless of how you feel on that day. Because not every game day, competition day, meet day, whatever it is going to be, not every day is going to be a banner day. So if I can be more mentally dialed, whether it's on more training sessions or on more competition days, then I will be more mentally prepared when those things go awry. So that's really what I was focused on, and by the end of it, I was more or less satisfied with the result I got from it. And it felt really good to hit the 240. I wish I had hit the 245, but what really got me pumped up mentally was something that happened after the snatch and also after the benching. Right before I did my accessories. So the gym was pretty crowded around the dumbbells. So I was set up with my dumbbells doing my rows near one of the bench stations. There were these two kids. They were probably 18 to 20, I don't know. But there were these two guys that were benching near me. But one of them had like a cheap fabric wrist brace kind of thing. It wasn't an actual brace, but it was just like a kind of a tight sock essentially around his wrist. But it was very apparent that his wrist was bothering him, and his buddy was trying to motivate him and give him cues and pointers, but it was very evident that pretty much anything to do with that wrist bothered him. And which, by the way, I'm not a doctor and I don't give medical advice, but the guys and I started having a conversation, and come to find out he just tweaked something and it just kept bothering him every time he benched. So I said, hey, I don't know if it'll help, but you can try a bulldog grip. And I briefly explained to them what a bulldog grip was, and he said, hey, it felt better. And he went on to bench 185 for reps, but a few reps of 135 were giving him trouble. I love seeing that light bulb moment when they say, oh, I can actually enjoy this. I love seeing people enjoy fitness, especially if they were having trouble with enjoying fitness. So that just brought me a lot of joy. It's actually one of my selfish reasons for coaching, because I get to watch people go through that same kind of realization that I had of feeling free and empowered and enabled to do whatever they want to do. So that is also for me a really addicting feeling. So again, that's one of the reasons. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons I coach. Which I just realized I haven't really been talking about my coaching that much here. Which maybe I should. You let me know. But going back to my session, made progress, and the floor press, I get why some gyms don't have band pegs. They're just so helpful. As you saw, I actually got smacked by my green bands, so I'm gonna have to order more. But we got through the floor press, we got through the bench. The bench actually felt almost too light. I actually had to check my math to make sure I did the math correctly, but it felt really light, which is a good thing. And then we moved on to accessories. So in case you don't know what a croc row is, you have now been introduced to croc rows. It looks like a really shitty dumbbell row. So croc rows were used in Westside Barbell and in the conjugate system, and that's kind of why I've kind of brought that over. It's not something that I typically program, honestly, because I just don't think of it all that much. I typically would sparse it out with other movements. And even though it may not be the most optimal lat building row, it's honestly a great movement to just build some downright aggression and violence towards weight. So if you want to learn how to pull aggressively, try doing some croc rows. Sneak those into your program sometime. And I swear you will still fuel your lats. You will still grow your lats if you do it. And with all those band pull aparts, I actually thought I was going to be able to get through a good chunk of them with doubling up on the bands. I was dead wrong. So as you saw, I actually did a single band for the majority of the time, but that would light up your back like none other. And on the tricep pushdowns, I probably loaded up a touch too heavy because on the last set, my elbow started to come up and it started to be more lat into the tricep pushdown. That's something that I'm going to have to remember for the future. But by the last set, my upper body was toast. It was fun, but I was completely smoked after that. And the day's not even over yet. So we have a 6.2 mile conversational pace run. And it's actually getting a little hot and muggy outside, but we're gonna get it done anyway. But before I go on that run, I wanted to tell y'all that I'm gonna be working out with Ryan Moody and I'm taking y'all with me. So Ryan is a good friend of mine. He's the world record holder on like a dozen different types of jumping. He's the only documented human to jump 105% of his height. So imagine going to a concert and the stage is just a little bit taller than you. And imagine him jumping on that stage. So that's Ryan Moody. Like I said, he's a good friend. We don't get to work out as often anymore because he moved out to the boondocks, but we're gonna meet up at his gym. He's gonna take me through one of his X-Watts, his explosive workouts, because he is the coach when it comes to explosiveness. And actually, he's a Westside barbell athlete. So a lot of what he does when it comes to training and coaching actually came from his time at Westside Barbell when he worked with Louis Simmons himself, which is pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. We'll put that after the run. Yeah, so I guess now we gotta run. All right, let's go.
Compared to what my pace is, how sustainable I feel, this is, it's not bad. And I'm able to have a very minor, very struggle bus conversation with you. Hey, stay back. There's a big old snake. Big one. Yeah. All right, that was fun. So there was a big ass snake crossing the trail. The snake was crossing from the creek over to someone's yard. Just knock on their door, see if anyone's home. Because I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want my kids to be playing in the yard with that thing. All right, back on the trail. Let's go. About 1.3 miles over, 1.2 miles left. Gosh. We're still at 135. But I honestly thought that run went pretty well, at least well for me. Did it go according to plan, and was it free of problems? No, absolutely not. But learned a little bit about myself when it came to breathing and pacing. I really struggle to nasal breathe while I run. I think I have a deviated septum because I just cannot breathe through both nostrils. So maybe I should do Alex Hormozy thing and just wear nose strips all the time. I don't know. And something that's nice about the Runner app, which I swear I'm not trying to plug it, but I struggle with the motivation to keep running. So I just love it when I find something that is able to give me a good feedback loop. Typically, I'm very data driven. So if something felt like it sucked, but there's data behind it, then it gives me a better sense of ownership, and it helps me say, okay, next time I can do this, next time I can do that. The nice thing about Runner is after you finish the run, it actually has like this Instagram stories thing where it'll show you the route, but it'll also show you like your paces from mile to mile. And then it gives little like achievement rewards. So fastest 2 mile that I've done on this app, fastest 5K. So even if the whole thing sucked, but I just happened to PR my 5K, that's something that you can say, okay, I got that. and then I just need to be able to say that for a little bit longer, or maybe you did a mile PR because you went out super hot, and now your goal is to just last for a mile and a quarter, or a mile and a tenth even. And one thing that I find incredibly valuable, especially if you're working with a coach athlete, but whether you're working with a coach or not, is if you can take data, and from that data, you build action items. Then you can make one of those action items super achievable. So for instance, let's say you ran your first 5K and you could only run continuously for a mile and a half. Okay, so the next time you go running, it may be your only action item, or it may be your first action item, is to run continuously for 1.6 miles. It may not sound like a lot, but the fact that you can tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna do just one more. I'm just gonna go 0.1 miles further. I'm just gonna do one more rep. I'm just gonna do one more. If you can tell yourself that you're gonna do that, and then you can follow through on that, that is incredibly powerful. All right, guys, good morning. We're here with the famous Ryan Moody. Ryan's a good buddy of mine. I'm over at his place, and if you don't know, Ryan Moody is like a world record holder in pretty much all things jumping, but specifically box jumps. So he is the most explosive coach, or isn't your handle the explosive coach? The explosive coach. I'll put it somewhere here. He's gonna take me through an XWOD. Ryan and I have been friends for a while, and he's taken me through a bunch of XWODs, but I wanted to kind of let him explain the XWOD format. So lead the way.
So what we've done is we've taken part of what Lawrence was already going to do today in his strength session, and then we've added in an explosive element to it, and then on top of that added in some of the other pieces of his workout that he was planning on doing anyways, including some core-based work and obviously some accessory type work. So we're gonna be doing your standard bench. We're looking for like anywhere in the range of 30 to probably max today 50%. And then on top of that, we're gonna be using these bad boys that are hooked up on the bench, the Westside Barbell Pro Bands, which, as we've been toying with it a little bit, is gonna give us quite the bang for our buck. Now, one of the things that we were noticing so far about these bands is we measured with our handy dandy fish scale here, we measured the tension of where the barbell is with the bands connected, and at the top lockout position, it's 45 pounds per side. So we're at 90 pounds. So when you add that to an empty barbell of 45 pounds, we are at 135 pounds at the top. And so that being said, you're probably not gonna see us put on like a crazy amount of weight on the bar because the tension on these bands is extremely high. So we'll warm up with that. We'll determine our weight. We're gonna keep our weight linear throughout. So meaning we're not gonna go up in weight each time. And then we're gonna superset this. So we're gonna hit 2 of the banded bench press and immediately into 2 of the clapping push-ups. The 2s, represented here, means 2 single claps. We're gonna then rest 30 seconds to a minute or so, just get a little bit of recovery in, and then we'll jump right back into it with another set of 2, followed by a set of 1. On the 1s, here, our 1s are always meant to be, or the representative of something more challenging in some way, shape, or form, whether that's a change in height, distance, speed, as well as the difficulty of the movement itself. So in this case, we're gonna change the difficulty and the speed of the movement by adding a double clap, but only for 1 rep. The goal here is not to be like, oh, I'm gonna do like 6 and 4 for all my reps. It's not about how many reps can I get in. It's about quality and power put into those reps every single time. So we're talking max effort. I don't want you going max effort for 10 to 20 reps. I want you giving me everything you got for 1 to 2 reps. And that's part of the goal here. Once we get through all of this, we've completed the actual XWOD portion. And that's what's beautiful about this, is the XWOD is just plug and play into what you're currently doing. So if you had a upper body chest and tris kind of day, and you're already bench pressing, you can plug in these clapping push-ups as an example and still keep the rest of the format of your day and be good to go, but you're getting an explosive element into it. Oftentimes people think that strength also means explosive power. Not the same thing. So with this, short duration, high velocity, and we're not trying to load up the bar so much that we're barely squeaking out a rep. We should be able to bench press this puppy like I don't know, like it's nothing. So that's what we're looking at today. Then we're going to drop into some rolling tricep extensions, some chest supported rows, and then we are going to end with a variant for our core work of a hanging knee raise plus some strict toes to bar, meaning we're going to do a hanging knee raise and then go right into a strict toes to bar. So we're going to go ahead and create a little complex, gymnastics complex. So that's going to be interesting for us. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what we're looking at today, and we'll be able to get this session done in less than an hour.
Just for everyone's own notification, what is the reason that we want to be more explosive in things like our bench or things like that? What is that applicable to?
So it's one thing to be strong. It's another thing to be explosive. We can be strong and have a slow, like on the bench press, right? Have a slow but strong bench press. However, it's more ideal to be explosive and strong, or powerful and strong. And so when we become more explosive, we actually up our ability to increase our overall PRs on things. So if I can push, let's say 100 pounds and it's a slow push, right? And then I do some explosive training and then all of a sudden that 100 moves like this, my PR is probably gonna go up as well. So I'm gonna have a new max in the future. So what it does is it also helps us to break through sticking points. But overall, it lights up our central nervous system in a way that helps it to be more powerful as a unit. That's why I try to incorporate explosive training with diverse populations, regardless of their age, because at some point we are going to start to lose our functionality, and being able to have power, speed, and strength are going to help us to be functional. Obviously, mobility, all the other pieces in there too. However, strength is a big indicator of our lifespan. One of the number one factors that determines rate of mortality, I believe.
All-cause mortality.
All-cause mortality is our grip strength. A lot of people don't realize that. So being strong matters. Being able to move a load long distance quickly matters, right?
Yep.
So that's why I would say explosive training as well.
Yeah, no, weak things break.
Yeah, right. Weak things break, exactly.
Exactly. Gas till 90.
Exactly, 100%, 100%.
All right, let's get this.
All right, brother.
Go. Up. Good. Go. Up. Up.
Oh,
All right, guys, that is all for today. Thanks, Ryan. That was awesome, and I appreciate you taking me through that.
absolutely, brother. It's always fun working out with you.
If you want to check out Ryan's stuff, I'll put a link in the description, as well as I'll put his handle here somewhere. The other thing is he's going to have his own version of this video, where if you check out his YouTube, you're going to see all sorts of stuff about the workouts, and plus he has tons of content on how to be more explosive, more athletic, and honestly kick ass for life. So anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, feel free to jump on over there, check out what we have. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribing to him if you have not yet. He has amazing content, great coach. Again, we've been working together off and on for more than 7 years now.
Yeah.
A long time. So, quality coach, you're in good hands here. Thanks for watching us, and try what we take on, see what it's like for you, and see what gains you get from it, and let us know about those gains.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely, bro. Love you, man.
Love you, dude. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with Ryan. It's always a treat to hang out with him. I always learn something new, and there's so many things that we get to share about. And so anytime that we have the opportunity to hang out, we try to make something happen, and I'll bring you all along as often as I can. So he's a good dude, great friend, great coach. And actually, in case you don't know, he's actually a therapist too. So
I guess look him up if you want to be more explosive or more calm. That's probably not the best way to say it. But he's an amazing dude and you should look him up. I'll put all of his details down in the description. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit because I have some big news. I've gotten some feedback about the Instagram story workouts. So in case you're new here, I've been posting my workouts as far as my journey is concerned of squatting 600 and running Leadville 100. I've been posting those workouts on my Instagram stories, but I've gotten some feedback about that, and some of y'all make some really, really good points. Because my main goal is to provide value to y'all, whether it's a resource structure, ideas, workouts, whatever it is. My main goal is to provide some kind of value to you. I want to help y'all. But there are two big things and one slightly smaller thing. And one of them is that my workouts right now are super specific. So if someone were to do my workouts on that day, it would be super specific to my goals and not necessarily the average person's goal. Even though the average person wants to get strong and fitter, and I'm trying to get strong and fitter, my workouts are pretty specific to my particular phase in training. And that's because I'm in meet prep. I'm going to be competing in a USAPL meet. That's powerlifting for those of you that don't know. But I'm also trying to progress with my running and keep up my Olympic lifting. So it's not really conducive for the average person that just wants to get really strong and really fit. And I think that is an incredibly valid point. If someone were to just do my workouts, it's not really going to help them that much. And I completely agree. If you were to just do my workouts when I post them, it's not really going to help you that much. And the other good point that was brought up was that looking at one of my workouts by itself really doesn't give that much structure, so you would really have to be dedicated to watching my stories, which if you want to follow me that hard on Instagram, then that's great. But you would really have to dedicate yourself to trying to write down and figure out, essentially decoding my workout essentially from day to day and week to week to try to figure out that structure without me providing a lot more context and education around why these movements, why these percentages, why this adjustment from week to week. And I think that is extremely valid because I really want to help educate people. I want to help show people the best way to their goals, whether it's through my coaching or education or any other way that I provide material that is easily absorbed by other people. And so those are two very valid reasons on why what I was doing didn't really provide y'all with what I was intending. The goal was to provide y'all with value, and it really didn't. So, I've been thinking about that, and by the way, I appreciate the feedback because I want to be able to provide y'all with value through this platform and other platforms the best way I can. So, I have been mulling it over. I have been thinking about it. It's actually one of the reasons why this video was delayed for so long. And it's not live yet, but it's going to be very, very soon. It's something that I truly believe is going to help anyone and everyone that wants to be fit and strong, faster, more enduring, work on Olympic lifts and powerlifting. So whether you just want to do one of those things or all of those things, this is going to be for you. And this is not only a resource that I believe will help people, this is a resource that I believe everyone should have access to. So which is why it's going to be free. So like I said, it's not live right now, but I'm probably going to be announcing it in my next video. So subscribe, turn on the bell, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And then if you want to get early access to it, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. And like I said, if you have any questions or have anything that you would like to see on this channel, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below or send me a DM. All right, guys, peace.